Most people want a better life, but keep looking for a big moment to change everything. The truth is simpler and stronger than that. Real change often comes from small actions repeated every day. Not once in a while, not only when you feel motivated. Every day in this audiobook, you will see how daily consistency can shape your health, your habits, your mind, and your future. You will learn why small choices matter more than most people realize, and why steady effort often beats sudden bursts of energy. You will also understand how to stay focused when progress feels slow, and how to keep going when doubt starts to grow. This is not about perfect days. It is about honest days. It is about building a life through simple actions that you can repeat and trust. If you have ever felt stuck, tired, or unsure of how to begin, this message will give you clear direction and practical strength. Stay with this one, because what you hear here can change the way you think about effort, discipline, and success. The results may not appear overnight, but they will appear if you keep showing up. Chapter 1. Commit daily to small actions that build lasting success. Daily success is rarely built through one dramatic decision. It is built through simple choices repeated with care. Most people want a better life, but they underestimate the power of small actions done every day. They wait for a huge moment to change everything. They wait for the perfect Monday. They wait for more motivation. They wait until they feel ready. But life does not reward waiting. Life responds to repeated action. A better future is not created in a single day. It is created in ordinary days when no one is watching, and when the results are not yet visible. There is a quiet strength in small daily effort. A person who reads 10 pages every day may not feel different after one day. A person who saves a little money every day may not feel rich after 1 week. A person who exercises for 20 minutes every day may not look transformed after a few sessions. A person who speaks with honesty every day may not see immediate praise. But the mind remembers, the body adapts, the habits deepen, the results begin to gather. What seems small in the moment becomes powerful over time. This is the real force behind lasting success. Many people fail because they judge progress too early. They begin with hope and then lose patience when the change is not immediate. They stop because the process feels too slow. They mistake slow progress for no progress. That is one of the most costly mistakes in personal growth. Small daily action is never wasted when it is repeated with discipline. Every effort counts. Every honest attempt leaves a mark. Every good choice shapes the next one. A life changes in the direction of repeated behavior, not repeated wishes. If you want a stronger life, begin with what you can control today. You do not need to solve your whole future in 1 hour. You do not need to fix everything at once. You only need to choose the next right action and then repeat it tomorrow. That is where real power begins. A clear mind, a steady routine, a firm decision to do something useful every day. Not everything, just something. Enough to stay in motion. Enough to build trust with yourself. Enough to prove that your words mean something. A person who keeps promises to themselves grows stronger in a deep way. Self-respect is not built by talk. It is built by follow-through. When you say you will wake up at a certain time and you do it, you gain a little trust in yourself. When you say you will finish your work before resting and you do it, you strengthen your character. When you say you will avoid one bad habit for today and you keep that promise, you become harder to break. This matters because your future will be shaped by the person you are becoming right now. A life of consistency begins when you stop treating your own commitments as optional. Small actions work because they are realistic. Big plans often fail because they demand too much too soon. A person may decide to change everything overnight and then burn out within days. But a smaller plan can survive the pressure of daily life. 10 minutes of focused reading is easier to sustain than a vague promise to become highly educated. A short daily workout is easier to maintain than an extreme fitness plan that leaves you exhausted. One thoughtful conversation is easier to repeat than a large promise to become a perfect communicator. The key is not intensity alone. The key is continuity. What you can repeat will shape your life more than what you can only do once. There is a disciplined calm in choosing simple effort over dramatic effort. It takes strength to do ordinary things well. It takes maturity to keep moving when the reward is not instant. It takes character to keep working without applause. Most people want results that can be seen quickly. Few are willing to respect the process long enough to earn them. That is why consistency separates serious people from casual dreamers. Serious people understand that daily action is not glamorous, but it is effective. They know that progress is built by staying loyal to the process when emotions are low and distractions are high. If you want to use the compound effect in your own life, begin by identifying the smallest action that still matters. Ask yourself what one daily behavior would improve your life if you repeated it for a year. It might be drinking more water. It might be writing down your goals each morning. It might be walking every day. It might be spending less time on things that drain you. It might be studying one useful skill for a few minutes a day. The action does not need to impress anyone. It only needs to be useful and repeatable. That is enough to start. In fact, that is often the best place to start. Then make the action easy to begin. Many people fail not because the goal is too large, but because the beginning is too difficult. If you want to build a reading habit, keep the book nearby. If you want to exercise, lay out your clothes the night before. If you want to write, begin with a few sentences. If you want to learn a skill, make the first step small enough that resistance has less room to grow. Discipline becomes easier when the first move is simple. A hard life often becomes lighter when systems are arranged in advance. You do not need to feel motivated every day. In truth, motivation is not reliable. It rises and falls. It appears and disappears. Some days you will feel strong. Other days you will feel tired. Some days you will want to work. Other days you will want to delay. That is normal. The mistake is waiting for the feeling before taking action. The stronger path is to act with steadiness, even when the feeling is weak. A person who learns to work without emotional permission becomes dependable. That is a powerful trait. Dependable people build strong lives because their progress does not depend on mood alone. There is wisdom in building a life that does not collapse when feelings change. Stoic thinking teaches that you do not control every event. You do not control every outcome. You do not control how quickly people notice your effort. But you do control your choices. You control your response. You control the standard you keep for yourself. That is where peace begins. A person who understands this no longer wastes energy fighting what cannot be controlled. Instead, they place attention on what can be done now. That is not weakness, that is maturity. Daily consistency becomes more powerful when it is tied to identity. Do not think only in terms of tasks. Think in terms of the person you are becoming. A person who reads every day becomes a reader. A person who trains their body regularly becomes someone who respects physical health. A person who speaks honestly becomes someone trusted by others. A person who keeps learning becomes someone harder to limit. When your daily actions match the identity you want, growth becomes more stable. You stop asking only what you should do and begin asking who you are becoming through what you do. This shift matters because identity drives behavior. People often try to change by forcing actions that do not fit their self-image. They say they want better habits, but deep inside they still think of themselves as inconsistent, undisciplined, or easily distracted. That inner belief quietly shapes their choices. To change your life, you must also change the story you tell yourself. Start speaking with honesty and strength. Say to yourself that you are someone who shows up. You are someone who improves a little each day. You are someone who does not need perfect conditions to begin. These are not empty words when they are supported by action. They become true through repetition. At first, progress may feel slow. That is normal. The early stage of consistency often requires faith. You may not see dramatic change in the first week. You may not receive praise. You may even feel as if nothing is happening. But under the surface, something important is taking place. Your habits are becoming easier. Your standards are becoming clearer. Your mind is learning a new pattern. Your body is adjusting. Your confidence is slowly building. The early stage rewards patience, not excitement. Those who remain steady during this stage often become the ones who later enjoy strong results. One practical way to build daily consistency is to create a non-negotiable minimum. Decide what must be done even on difficult days. This may be 5 minutes of reading. It may be a short walk. It may be 10 minutes of focused work. It may be writing one paragraph. A minimum matters because it protects the chain of habit when life feels heavy. Not every day will allow your best performance, but every day can allow some progress. That small commitment keeps your identity intact. It teaches you that your standards are stable even when your energy is not. Another important practice is removing decision fatigue. The more choices you face each day, the more energy you lose before important work begins. Structure helps. A set morning routine, a fixed study time, a regular time to plan the next day, a simple system for meals, a clear place for your tools. These things reduce waste. They create order. They make consistency less dependent on willpower. A well-designed life is easier to maintain because fewer decisions are needed to keep moving forward. Simplicity is not weakness. Simplicity is strategy. You must also learn to protect your attention. Daily consistency cannot survive constant distraction. A few minutes lost here and there may seem harmless, but over time they become expensive. A mind that is always interrupted struggles to build momentum. That is why you should guard your time with care. Place your phone away when you need to focus. Turn off unnecessary alerts. Create quiet periods where your mind can settle. Give your best attention to the work that matters. Every hour has value. Every fragment of attention has value. Respecting your attention is one of the strongest acts of self-discipline. There is also value in tracking your efforts. Progress feels stronger when it is visible. Keep a simple record of your daily action. Mark the days you complete your habit. Write down what you did. Review your progress each week. This practice does not need to be complicated. It only needs to be honest. A record helps you see patterns. It shows where you are strong and where you struggle. It reminds you that growth is happening even when it feels quiet. Measured effort is easier to improve because you can see what is real, but tracking alone is not enough. You must also reflect. At the end of each day, ask whether your actions matched your values. Ask what helped and what got in the way. Ask what can be improved tomorrow. This is not about self-criticism. It is about awareness. A person who reflects becomes wiser with time. They learn faster. They waste less energy repeating the same mistakes. Reflection creates depth. It teaches you to see your own behavior clearly. That clarity can change a life. Daily small actions also build resilience. A resilient person is not someone who never struggles. A resilient person is someone who continues despite struggle. Each time you keep going on a hard day, you strengthen your inner structure. Each time you return after missing a day, you weaken the hold of discouragement. Each time you continue after a setback, you teach yourself that failure does not end the story. That lesson matters in every area of life: work, health, learning, relationships, finances, confidence. In each area, consistency creates strength because it teaches endurance. Do not wait for life to become easier before building discipline. Build discipline so life becomes easier to handle. This is one of the deepest truths a person can learn. Strength is not only for crisis. Strength is for ordinary days. It helps you stay focused when boredom appears. It helps you remain calm when pressure rises. It helps you choose what is right when temporary comfort tempts you. Daily discipline is not a burden, it is protection. It protects your time, it protects your mind, it protects your future from careless choices. Many people fail because they make the mistake of expecting daily improvement to feel exciting all the time. In reality, some days will feel plain, some days will feel repetitive, some days will feel difficult. That does not mean the work is failing. It means the work is real. Real growth is often quiet. It does not always announce itself. It happens when you show up anyway. The person who can remain faithful to simple work will often go further than the person who depends on constant excitement. Emotional energy fades. Discipline remains. You will also need patience with yourself. Growth is not a race against other people. It is a personal responsibility. Comparing yourself to others can weaken your focus. Their path is not your path. Their timeline is not your timeline. Their starting point was not your starting point. What matters is whether you are better than you were before. Are you more disciplined? Are you more honest? Are you more dependable? Are you more focused? Are you more patient? These are the measures that matter. You do not need to be perfect. You need to be consistent in the right direction. When you feel discouraged, remember that the value of a daily action is often hidden at first. The body does not reveal its full response after one workout. The mind does reveal its full strength after one session of study. The bank account does not grow by magic after one saved coin, but with enough repetition, visible change appears. This is not theory, it is reality. Repeated effort creates new results because repeated effort changes systems. It changes skill, it changes confidence, it changes habits, it changes expectations. It changes the kind of future available to you. A person who practices small daily improvement becomes harder to pull off course. They become less fragile in the face of distraction. They learn to value progress over comfort. They stop needing every day to feel special before doing the work. This is a form of freedom. Not freedom from responsibility, but freedom from weakness. Freedom from being ruled by impulse. Freedom from needing constant approval. Freedom from being controlled by the mood of the moment. That kind of freedom is rare and valuable. The daily actions you choose also affect the people around you. Consistency does not stay private for long. Family sees it. Friends notice it. Coworkers feel it. Children learn from it. When you build a habit of steady effort, you become an example. People may not always say it aloud, but they notice the reliability. They notice that you do what you say. They notice that you are not easily shaken. They notice that you respect your commitments. In that way, your discipline becomes useful not only to you but to others as well. Still, the first duty is to yourself. You must learn to care enough about your own life to protect it with action. That does not mean chasing perfection. It means refusing laziness when it is within your power to do better. It means using the day wisely. It means not giving all your energy to things that do not matter. It means building a life that reflects your values rather than your excuses. Every day offers a choice. Will you drift or will you decide? Will you waste the day or shape it? Will you act as if tomorrow will fix everything, or will you do one useful thing today? The answer to that question is where your future begins. If you have struggled before, do not use that as proof that you cannot change. Past inconsistency is not a life sentence. It is only evidence that a better system is needed. Start smaller, start clearer, start with less resistance, start again if necessary. Starting again is not failure. Refusing to begin again is the real danger. A strong life is built by people who are willing to return to the work after stopping. They do not romanticize their mistakes. They learn from them and move forward. There is no shame in beginning with a small step. There is shame in staying aware of what needs to change and doing nothing. You know more than you did yesterday. Use that knowledge. You have more experience than you did last year. Use that too. The goal is not to become a different person overnight. The goal is to become a stronger person by steady repetition. One page, one task, one honest choice, one disciplined morning, one focused evening, one better response, one more day. These small acts matter more than most people realize. And when you feel tired, remember this. The result you want is often closer than it seems if you keep going. The temptation to quit usually becomes strongest just before progress begins to show. That is why endurance matters, not dramatic endurance. Ordinary endurance. The kind that says, I will do what I can today and I will return tomorrow. The kind that keeps your character intact when enthusiasm fades. The kind that does not need applause to remain faithful. A meaningful life is not built by random effort. It is built by repeated good effort. A successful life is not the product of constant excitement. It is the product of disciplined days joined together with purpose. That is the compound effect. Small actions repeated often, guided by clear intention, strengthened by patience, protected by self-respect, supported by honest reflection. Over time, they create a life that feels more stable, more capable, and more aligned with who you really want to become. So begin today. Choose one action that matters. Make it small enough to repeat and serious enough to count. Do it with attention. Do it without drama. Do it again tomorrow. Then again after that. Protect it. Respect it. Build from it. Your future will not be built in one loud moment. It will be built in the quiet discipline of ordinary days. That is where real change lives. That is where confidence grows. That is where strength is earned. That is where lasting success begins. Chapter 2. Develop clear goals and have listened every day. A life without clear goals often feels busy but directionless. Days fill up, tasks pile up, time moves fast. Yet at the end of the week, many people cannot say exactly what they moved closer to. They were active but not intentional. They were occupied but not guided. This is where many good efforts weaken. Energy is spent in many places, but not aimed at one clear result. A clear goal changes that. It gives your mind a target. It gives your actions a reason. It makes each day easier to use because you know what you are working toward. Clarity is one of the most powerful forms of self-respect. When you know what matters most, you stop giving equal value to everything. You begin to see the difference between movement and progress. You begin to notice how much time is lost when a person acts without a purpose. A clear goal does not make life perfect, but it makes life more focused. It removes confusion. It helps you say no to distractions that would quietly steal your future. It helps you wake up with a sense of direction instead of a sense of drift. Many people fail to reach their potential because their goals are too vague. They say they want success. They say they want a better future. They say they want more money or better health or a stronger mind. Those desires are understandable, but they are not enough on their own. A goal must be specific enough to guide action. You need to know what you want, why you want it, and what kind of daily effort will move you closer to it. Without that, ambition becomes a feeling instead of a plan. The mind works better when it has a clear path. It becomes easier to focus when there is a clear destination. A person who knows exactly what they are building wastes less energy on confusion. They do not have to debate every decision from scratch. They already know the direction. That direction becomes a quiet force in the background of daily life. Even ordinary choices begin to carry weight. What you eat, what you study, how you spend your evenings, who you spend time with. Each choice starts to connect to a larger purpose. This is why goals should be simple, honest, and meaningful. They should not be chosen to impress other people. They should be chosen to improve your life in real ways. A goal that only feeds pride will not last. A goal that supports growth will. A goal that matches your values will have more staying power than a goal chosen for appearance. You need something that speaks to the life you truly want to build. Not a fantasy, not a borrowed dream. A real direction you are willing to work toward even when progress is slow. Once the goal is clear, the next step is to break it into daily action. A goal without daily steps remains a wish. The gap between desire and reality is closed through repeated effort. A large result becomes possible only when the day is treated with care. What matters is not just what you want in the future, but what you are willing to do today. The future is built through ordinary hours. If you use those hours well, the outcome changes. If you waste them, the outcome also changes. Every day carries a vote for the kind of life you will live later. Consistency is where the real challenge begins. Many people can feel excited about a goal for a short time. Fewer can remain steady after the excitement fades. That is why discipline matters more than emotion. A clear goal gives you the reason. Consistent steps give you the result. Some days the work will feel easy, other days it will feel dull. Some days you will move quickly, other days you will move slowly. The point is to continue. Not perfectly, not dramatically. Simply and steadily. The person who stays in motion becomes stronger than the person who only starts well. A practical way to stay consistent is to create a small daily standard linked to your goal. If the goal is to improve your health, then one useful step each day may be a walk or a workout or a better meal choice. If the goal is to grow professionally, then one step may be learning a skill or improving your work habits or finishing a small task that matters. If the goal is financial improvement, then one step may be tracking spending or saving a small amount or avoiding one unnecessary purchase. The size of the step matters less than the regularity of the step. Repetition turns effort into progress. You should also learn to work with your natural rhythm instead of fighting it. There will be times when your energy is high and times when it is lower. Clear goals help you use both wisely. On stronger days, you can do more. On difficult days, you can still do something. That is important because many people wait for the perfect condition before they act. They wait for more time, more energy, more confidence, more certainty. But progress belongs to the person who works with reality instead of waiting for ideal conditions. A small action taken today is worth more than a perfect action never taken. Daily steps become more effective when they are tied to a schedule. What is scheduled is more likely to happen. What is vague is easily delayed. A goal should not live only in your thoughts. It should live in your calendar, your habits, and your routines. A set time for study, a planned hour for exercise, a regular moment for reflection, a clear routine for beginning the day. Structure reduces temptation because it leaves less room for indecision. The less you depend on memory and mood, the more likely you are to stay consistent. It also helps to review your goals often. People forget what they wanted when they stop looking at it. A goal must remain visible enough to stay alive in your mind. Write it down. Read it again. Measure your progress. Ask whether your daily actions still match your direction. This kind of review keeps you honest. It prevents slow drift. It reminds you that your life is not happening by accident. You are shaping it through repeated choices. Awareness is powerful because it brings responsibility back into focus. When you review your progress, be truthful without being harsh. You do not need to punish yourself for slow movement. You need to understand what is working and what is not. Some goals need a better plan. Some need a smaller first step. Some need more time. Some need more patience. Being realistic is not the same as being weak. It is a sign of maturity. A person who can face the truth without running from it becomes capable of lasting growth. The connection between clear goals and daily steps is simple but profound. Goals give meaning to your effort. Daily steps give form to your goals. One without the other is incomplete. A clear goal with no action becomes frustration. A lot of action with no goal becomes confusion. Together they create progress. Together they create order. Together they turn intention into result. There is also a deep emotional benefit to living this way. A person with clear goals feels less lost. There is less noise inside the mind, less wasted energy, less regret from drifting through the day. A clear direction can bring calm even when life is hard because you know what you are doing and why you are doing it. That kind of calm is not passive, it is earned. It comes from deciding that your time has value and your future deserves care. You may not control how quickly results arrive, but you can control the quality of your daily effort. That truth is freeing. It means you do not need to wait for life to become easy before you become serious. It means you can start with what you have. It means your present actions matter even if the full reward is still ahead. Every day is an opportunity to strengthen the path between where you are and where you want to be. Keep your goals close and your daily steps simple. Do not overload your life with too many ambitions at once. Choose what matters most. Give it honest attention, protect it from distraction, build around it with patience. Your life becomes stronger when your effort is guided rather than scattered. A clear goal is not a fantasy, it is a decision. A consistent step is not small in meaning. It is the bridge to the life you want. Stay faithful to that bridge, walk it daily. Some days the steps will feel light, some days they will feel heavy. Keep going anyway. The person who remains steady in the direction of a worthy goal becomes someone different over time, more focused, more disciplined, more dependable, more capable. That change does not happen by chance. It happens because each day was given a purpose, and each purpose was honored through action. A clear goal will challenge you, but it will also guide you. Consistent steps will test you, but they will also shape you. Together they will make your life more intentional and your future more certain. Do not wait to feel ready. Begin where you are. Choose a direction. Then take another. That is how progress becomes real. That is how a life changes. Chapter 3. Build strong habits that support growth and personal discipline. Every life is shaped by patterns. What you repeat becomes who you are. Not once, not occasionally, but daily patterns define your direction. A single action rarely changes anything, but repeated behavior creates identity, strength, and long-term results. This is why habits matter more than short bursts of effort. A person can work hard for a few days and still remain stuck. But a person who builds the right habits begins to move forward without constant struggle. Strong habits remove the need to argue with yourself. Without them, every task becomes a debate. You wake up and question whether to get up early. You sit down to work and feel resistance. You think about improving your life but delay action. This cycle drains energy. It creates frustration. It leads to inconsistency. Habits solve this problem by reducing decision-making. When something becomes a habit, it requires less thought. You do it because it is part of your routine, not because you feel like it. Many people believe discipline is about forcing yourself to act all the time. That belief creates pressure and often leads to failure. Discipline is not about constant force. It is about creating systems that make the right action easier and the wrong action harder. A habit is a system that works quietly in the background. It supports your goals even when your motivation is low. It keeps you moving when your emotions are unstable. That is real strength. The first step in building strong habits is choosing the right ones. Not every habit deserves your attention. Some actions may feel productive but do not lead to meaningful growth. You need to focus on habits that directly improve your life. These are the actions that build skill, improve health, strengthen your mind, and move you toward your goals. It is better to have a few strong habits than many weak ones. Focus creates depth. Depth creates results. Once you choose a habit, make it clear and specific. Vague intentions do not turn into consistent action. Saying you want to improve yourself is not enough. You need to define what that means in daily behavior. If you want to grow mentally, decide how you will do it. If you want to improve physically, decide what action you will take. If you want better discipline, decide what behavior you will repeat. Clarity removes confusion. It gives your mind a direct instruction. After clarity, the next step is making the habit easy to start. Many people fail because they try to do too much too soon. They aim for perfection instead of consistency. They create routines that are too demanding, and when they cannot maintain them, they quit. A strong habit begins small. It should be simple enough that you can do it even on a difficult day. This builds confidence. It creates a sense of control. It shows you that progress is possible without overwhelming effort. Starting small does not mean thinking small. It means building a strong foundation. A short daily reading session can lead to deep knowledge over time. A brief workout can lead to physical strength. A few minutes of focused work can lead to professional growth. The size of the action is not the main factor. The repetition is what matters. When something is done consistently, it grows in value. Another important part of habit building is consistency and timing. When you attach a habit to a specific time or situation, it becomes easier to remember and repeat. The brain responds well to patterns. If you study at the same time every day, it becomes part of your routine. If you exercise after a certain activity, your mind begins to expect it. This reduces resistance. It turns effort into a normal part of your day. Your environment also plays a major role in shaping your habits. Many people ignore this and rely only on willpower. That approach often fails because willpower is limited. The environment should support your behavior. If you want to read more, keep your book in a visible place. If you want to avoid distractions, remove unnecessary triggers. If you want to eat better, make healthier options easy to access. When your surroundings support your habits, you need less effort to stay consistent. Bad habits often grow in environments that make them easy. If something is always within reach, you are more likely to repeat it. If distractions are constantly present, your focus weakens. You must be honest about what is helping you and what is holding you back. Changing your environment is not a sign of weakness. It is a smart decision. It shows that you understand how behavior works. Tracking your habits can also strengthen your discipline. When you record your actions, you create awareness. You see patterns. You note your progress. This can be simple. Mark the days you complete your habit. Write down what you did. Look at your record after a week. This gives you a clear picture of your effort. It removes guesswork. It shows whether you are consistent or not. But tracking is not about perfection. You will miss days. You will face challenges. What matters is how you respond. Missing once does not destroy a habit. Giving up does. When you fail, return to the habit as soon as possible. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Restart quickly. This builds resilience. It teaches you that setbacks are temporary. It helps you stay focused on long-term progress. There is also a deeper aspect to habit building. It is not just about what you do. It is about who you become. Every habit shapes your identity. When you act with discipline, you start to see yourself as a disciplined person. When you stay consistent, you begin to trust yourself. This trust is powerful. It changes how you think. It changes how you act. It makes future habits easier to build. Identity-based habits are stronger because they go beyond external results. You are not just exercising to look better. You are becoming someone who respects their health. You are not just working hard for success. You are becoming someone who takes responsibility for their life. This shift creates stability. It makes your habits more meaningful. Your mindset will also be tested during this process. There will be days when progress feels slow. There will be moments when you question your effort. This is where patience becomes important. Habits take time to show visible results. The early stage requires belief. You must trust that your actions are building something, even if you cannot see it yet. Discipline grows stronger when you accept discomfort. Not every habit will feel good in the beginning. Some will feel boring. Some will feel challenging. That is part of the process. Growth often requires effort that is not immediately enjoyable. A disciplined person understands this and continues anyway. They do not expect every step to be easy. They expect it to be worthwhile. You also need to protect your habits from distractions. Modern life offers constant interruptions. It is easy to lose focus. You must create boundaries. Set times where you work without interruption. Reduce unnecessary noise. Give your attention to what matters. Focus is a skill that supports every habit. Without it, progress becomes slow. Another powerful approach is to connect habits with purpose. When you understand why a habit matters, it becomes easier to stay committed. You are not just repeating an action, you are building a better version of yourself. You are improving your future. This gives your effort meaning. It keeps you grounded when motivation fades. Over time, strong habits create momentum. You begin to feel more in control of your life. Tasks that once felt difficult become easier. You waste less time. You think more clearly. You act with confidence. This is the result of consistent effort. It is not luck. It is not talent alone. It is the outcome of repeated behavior. It is important to remain patient during this process. Real change does not happen overnight. Habits grow gradually. Each day adds a small amount of progress. Over weeks and months, this progress becomes significant. You begin to see real results. Your life becomes more structured. Your actions become more intentional. At the same time, avoid becoming rigid. Habits should support your life, not control it completely. There will be times when adjustments are needed. Stay flexible. Focus on the principle of consistency rather than perfect execution. This balance keeps your progress stable. A person with strong habits does not rely on luck. They rely on structure. They know what needs to be done, and they do it regularly. This creates a sense of control. It reduces stress. It builds confidence. Life becomes more manageable when your actions are aligned with your goals. In the end, habits are not just about productivity. They are about self-mastery. They teach you to control your actions. They help you build a life based on intention rather than impulse. This is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. Every day is an opportunity to strengthen or weaken your habits. The choice is always present. You can act with purpose or follow old patterns. You can build discipline or delay growth. The direction you choose will shape your future. Start with one habit that matters. Make it simple. Repeat it daily. Protect it from distractions. Track your progress. Adjust when needed. Stay patient. Over time, this single habit can lead to many others. Your life will begin to change in a steady and meaningful way. Strong habits do not demand perfection. They demand consistency. They require effort, but they also give back in the form of growth, stability, and confidence. When you commit to building them, you take control of your path. You stop drifting. You start leading your own life. This is how growth becomes real. Not through sudden change, but through daily discipline. Not through intense effort once, but through steady action, repeated over time. Strong habits are the foundation of lasting success, and they are built one day at a time. Chapter 4. Eliminate excuses and take responsibility for your daily progress. There comes a point where progress stops being about knowledge and starts being about honesty. Most people already understand what they should be doing. They know when they are wasting time. They know when they are avoiding effort. They know when they are choosing comfort over growth. The real barrier is not lack of information. The real barrier is the habit of making excuses and avoiding responsibility. Until that pattern is removed, improvement remains limited. Excuses are often quiet and convincing. They do not always sound weak. Sometimes they sound reasonable. You tell yourself that you are too tired today. You tell yourself that the timing is not right. You tell yourself that you will start tomorrow when things feel easier. You justify delays with small arguments that seem harmless in the moment, but repeated often. These small decisions shape your life. They create a gap between what you know and what you do. The problem with excuses is not just that they delay action. They slowly weaken your sense of control. When you allow yourself to step away from responsibility, you train your mind to look outward for reasons instead of inward for solutions. You begin to believe that progress depends on perfect conditions. You begin to feel less capable of acting without comfort. Over time, this reduces your confidence. It creates a cycle where you wait more and act less. Taking responsibility changes this pattern completely. It brings your focus back to what you can control. It removes the habit of blaming circumstances, other people, or temporary discomfort. It creates a direct link between your choices and your results. This is not about being harsh on yourself. It is about being honest. It is about accepting that your daily actions shape your future more than any external factor. A responsible mindset begins with a simple shift. Instead of asking why something is difficult, ask what can be done next. Instead of focusing on what is missing, focus on what is available. Instead of waiting for the right moment, use the current moment. This shift may seem small, but it changes how you approach challenges. It moves you from a passive position to an active one. Many people hesitate to take responsibility because they associate it with pressure. They think it means carrying a heavy burden or blaming themselves for every mistake. In reality, responsibility is a form of freedom. When you accept that your actions matter, you gain the power to change them. You no longer feel stuck. You no longer feel controlled by external events. You understand that while you cannot control everything, you can always control your response. One of the most effective ways to eliminate excuses is to become aware of them. Pay attention to the thoughts that appear when you avoid a task. Notice the patterns. Are you telling yourself that you need more time? Are you convincing yourself that the effort is not worth it? Are you waiting for motivation to appear? These thoughts are not facts. They are habits of thinking. Once you recognize them, you can challenge them. Instead of accepting an excuse, question it. Ask yourself if it is truly valid or if it is a way to avoid discomfort. Most of the time, the answer will be clear. This moment of awareness gives you a choice. You can follow the excuse or you can act despite it. Each time you choose action, you weaken the habit of avoidance. You build a new pattern of responsibility. Another practical approach is to reduce the space for excuses. Make your tasks clear and specific. Vague goals create room for delay. Clear actions reduce hesitation. Decide what needs to be done and when it will be done. This removes uncertainty. It makes the next step obvious. When the path is clear, excuses have less power. You can also use structure to support responsibility. Set a routine for your day. Decide in advance how you will use your time. When your schedule is planned, you rely less on moment-to-moment decisions. This reduces the chance of distraction. It creates a steady flow of action. A structured day is easier to manage because it limits the opportunities for avoidance. Accountability is another powerful tool. When you take responsibility alone, it requires strong self-discipline. When you involve another person or system, it becomes easier to stay consistent. This could be a simple check-in with someone you trust. It could be tracking your progress daily. It could be setting clear deadlines for your tasks. Accountability adds a level of commitment that supports your efforts. It is also important to accept that discomfort is part of progress. Many excuses are based on the desire to avoid difficulty. You may not feel ready, you may feel uncertain, you may feel tired. These feelings are natural. They are not signs that you should stop. They are part of the process of growth. When you accept this, you stop waiting for comfort and start acting with discipline. Responsibility also means owning your results without denial. When things go well, you recognize your effort. When things do not go as planned, you examine your actions without making excuses. This creates clarity. It helps you understand what needs to change. It prevents repeated mistakes. It keeps your focus on improvement rather than blame. There is strength in facing reality directly. It may not always feel good, but it leads to growth. Avoiding the truth may provide temporary relief, but it delays progress. A responsible person chooses clarity over comfort. They are willing to see their weaknesses because they know that awareness is the first step toward improvement. Another important aspect is consistency in responsibility. It is not enough to take ownership once. It must become a daily habit. Each day presents new choices. Each day requires effort. When you approach every day with the same mindset, you build stability. You create a pattern of action that supports long-term success. It also helps to focus on small wins. Responsibility does not require perfect performance. It requires consistent effort. Completing one important task, keeping one commitment, making one disciplined choice. These actions build momentum. They show you that progress is possible. They strengthen your belief in your ability to improve. Over time, this mindset creates confidence, not the kind that depends on external praise, but the kind that comes from self-trust. You know that you will act when needed. You know that you will follow through. You know that you will not rely on excuses. This confidence is stable because it is based on your own behavior. You will still face challenges. There will be days when you feel less focused. There will be moments when old habits try to return. This is normal. What matters is how you respond. Do not allow a single mistake to turn into a pattern. Correct your course quickly. Return to your responsibilities. Keep moving forward. Responsibility also improves your decision-making. When you accept that your choices have consequences, you become more thoughtful. You consider the long-term impact of your actions. You become less reactive. You make decisions based on what is right, not just what feels easy. This leads to better outcomes in all areas of life. Your environment may not always support your goals. You may face distractions, challenges, or limitations. Responsibility means working within these conditions without losing focus. It means adapting when necessary. It means finding ways to move forward instead of stopping completely. This flexibility is part of strength. There is also a deeper sense of purpose that comes with responsibility. When you take ownership of your life, you begin to see your actions as meaningful. You are not just passing time. You are building something. You are shaping your future. This gives your effort value. It makes each day more intentional. A person who eliminates excuses becomes reliable. They do what they say they will do. They follow through on their commitments. This reliability builds trust, both in themselves and in the eyes of others. It creates opportunities. It strengthens relationships. It improves every area of life. In the end, responsibility is a decision that must be made repeatedly. It is not something you achieve once and keep forever. It is something you practice daily. Each moment offers a choice between avoidance and action. The more you choose action, the stronger you become. You do not need perfect conditions to take responsibility. You only need a clear decision. You only need to act with honesty. You only need to focus on what can be done now. This is enough to begin. Progress does not belong to those who wait for the right moment. It belongs to those who act despite imperfect conditions. It belongs to those who take ownership of their time, their actions, and their results. When you remove excuses and accept responsibility, you create a direct path to growth. This path may not always be easy, but it is clear. It leads to strength, discipline, and self-respect. It leads to a life where your actions match your intentions. It leads to real change, built one responsible decision at a time. Chapter 5. Focus on improvement to sustain long-term consistency. Your life changes the moment you decide that steady improvement matters more than short bursts of effort. Many people begin with energy, but few learn how to continue when that energy fades. That is where real growth begins. Not at the start, but in the middle, when the excitement is gone and only the decision to continue remains. Long-term consistency is not built on intensity. It is built on a quiet commitment to keep improving, even when progress feels slow. Improvement is a different mindset from perfection. Perfection demands flawless performance and often leads to frustration. Improvement accepts that every step can be better than the last. It focuses on progress, not perfection. This shift removes pressure and replaces it with purpose. You are no longer trying to prove anything in a single day. You are working to become slightly better over time. This approach builds strength because it is sustainable. Many people lose consistency because they expect immediate results. They start strong, then lose interest when the outcome does not match their expectations. This creates a cycle of starting and stopping. Improvement breaks this cycle by changing the focus. Instead of chasing results, you begin to value the process. You look at what you are doing each day and ask how it can be done better. This keeps your attention on what you can control. A simple way to apply this is to review your daily actions with honesty. At the end of the day, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself if your effort was focused. Ask if you used your time well. Ask what can be improved tomorrow. This is not about judging yourself harshly. It is about learning. Each day becomes a lesson. Each action becomes an opportunity to adjust and grow. When you focus on improvement, you begin to notice small details that were once ignored. You see where time is wasted. You notice where your attention drifts. You become aware of habits that support your progress and habits that slow you down. This awareness is powerful because it allows you to make better choices. You are no longer moving blindly. You are acting with intention. Consistency becomes easier when you remove the pressure to be perfect. On difficult days, you may not perform at your highest level. That is normal. What matters is that you still move forward. Even a small improvement is valuable. Even a small effort keeps the pattern alive. This is how long-term consistency is protected, not by forcing perfect days, but by refusing to stop completely. Another important part of improvement is patience. Growth takes time, skills take time, discipline takes time. There is no shortcut that replaces steady effort. Many people give up because they underestimate how long real change requires. They expect results in days when the process requires months or years. This expectation creates disappointment. Patience removes this problem. It allows you to stay focused without becoming discouraged. You must learn to respect the timeline of growth. Just as the body needs time to adapt to physical training, the mind needs time to adapt to discipline. Habits need time to become natural. Results need time to appear. When you accept this, you stop rushing. You stop comparing your progress to others. You focus on your own path. This creates stability. Improvement also requires honesty. You cannot improve what you refuse to see. You must be willing to recognize your weaknesses without avoiding them. This is not about self-criticism. It is about clarity. When you see your patterns clearly, you can change them. When you ignore them, they remain the same. A useful approach is to focus on one area at a time. Trying to improve everything at once often leads to confusion. Choose one habit, one skill, or one behavior that matters most. Give it your attention. Work on it consistently. Once it becomes stronger, move to the next area. This creates steady progress without overwhelming your mind. Feedback is another tool that supports improvement. Pay attention to the results of your actions. If something is working, continue it. If something is not working, adjust your approach. This requires flexibility. You are not locked into one method, you are learning as you go. This makes your progress more efficient. It is also important to celebrate small progress, not in a way that leads to complacency, but in a way that acknowledges effort. When you notice improvement, you reinforce the behavior. You remind yourself that your actions are leading somewhere. This builds motivation from within. It creates a sense of satisfaction that supports continued effort. At the same time, avoid becoming comfortable too early. Improvement is an ongoing process. There is always another level to reach. There is always another way to grow. Staying consistent means staying open to learning. It means refusing to settle for what is easy when you know you can do better. Your environment plays a role in this process. Surround yourself with conditions that support improvement. Keep your space organized. Reduce distractions. Create a setting where focus is easier. These small adjustments make a difference. They reduce resistance. They make consistency more natural. Your mindset also shapes your ability to improve. A fixed mindset limits growth. It tells you that your abilities are fixed. A growth mindset encourages effort. It tells you that you can develop through practice. When you believe that improvement is possible, you are more willing to put in the work. You are more likely to stay consistent. There will be moments when progress feels slow. There will be times when you question your effort. This is part of the journey. Do not allow temporary doubt to stop long-term growth. Return to your process. Focus on your next step. Trust that consistent improvement will lead to results. Consistency is not about doing the same thing without change. It is about doing the right things with gradual improvement. Each day builds on the previous one. Each action adds value. Over time, this creates a strong foundation. It leads to meaningful results. You do not need to achieve everything at once. You need to move forward step by step. Improvement makes this possible. It keeps your progress steady. It keeps your effort focused. It keeps your mind clear. A disciplined life is not built through pressure. It is built through steady growth. It is built through daily attention to improvement. It is built through patience and consistency. When you focus on becoming better each day, you create a path that leads to lasting success. In the end, improvement is a choice you make daily. It is a commitment to do a little better than before. It is a decision to learn, adjust, and continue. This approach removes the need for extreme effort. It replaces it with steady progress. When you adopt this mindset, consistency becomes natural. You are no longer forcing yourself to act. You are simply following a process of growth. This creates a sense of control. It creates confidence. It creates a life that moves forward with purpose. Keep your focus on improvement. Let each day be a step forward. Let each action bring you closer to your goals. Over time, these small improvements will create significant change. They will shape your habits, your mindset, and your future. This is how long-term consistency is sustained. Not through intensity, but through steady progress. Not through pressure, but through patience. Not through perfection, but through continuous improvement. Chapter 6. Track your daily actions to measure growth and stay accountable. Your progress becomes real the moment you begin to measure it with honesty. A person can feel busy for weeks and still remain in the same place. That is why tracking daily actions matters. It brings truth into focus. It shows what is actually happening, not what you hoped was happening. It removes self-deception. It replaces guesswork with evidence. When you track what you do each day, you begin to see your life clearly. That clarity can change everything. Most people do not fail because they lack ambition. They fail because they do not know how they are using their time. Days pass, energy gets spent, good intentions fade, then they wonder why nothing has changed. Tracking solves this problem by turning invisible habits into visible facts. It gives your effort a record. It shows whether your actions are matching your goals. It allows you to notice patterns before they become permanent. There is a strong difference between feeling committed and being committed. Feelings change quickly. A record does not. A record reveals the truth over time. It shows whether you exercised, studied, saved, read, focused, or followed through. It also shows where you slipped. That is not something to fear. It is something to use. Honest tracking is not about judging yourself. It is about learning from your behavior so you can improve it. When you track your daily actions, you stop relying on memory alone. Memory is often selective. It remembers the moments that stand out and forgets the routine. But growth happens in the routine. Growth happens in repeated effort that seems ordinary. If you do not track it, you may not realize how much progress you are making. On the other hand, you may also miss the slow habits that are holding you back. A written record makes both visible. You do not need a complicated system. Simple is better. A notebook, a calendar, a page on your desk, a small chart on your phone. Choose one method and stay with it. What matters is that you can see your actions clearly. At the end of the day, ask what you did that supported your growth. Ask what distracted you. Ask what stayed true to your goals. Then record it honestly. This small practice creates powerful awareness. Tracking builds discipline because it adds responsibility to your choices. When you know you will record your actions, you become more thoughtful about them. That does not mean you become perfect. It means you become more aware. Awareness changes behavior. A person who knows they are being honest with themselves starts to act with greater care. Small decisions begin to matter more. Skipping a task feels different when you know it will show up in your record. Completing the task feels stronger when you know it represents real effort. Another reason tracking works is that it gives you proof of progress. Motivation often rises when people can see that their work is producing something. A record can show you that even small actions add up. Maybe you studied for 20 minutes instead of 2. Maybe you walked 3 times this week. Maybe you wrote every morning for a few days in a row. These may seem like small details, but they matter. They are signs that your identity is changing. They are signs that your habits are moving in the right direction. This is important because many people quit too early. They do not realize how close they are to growth because the progress is slow and quiet. Tracking helps you see the truth before discouragement convinces you otherwise. It reminds you that consistency is already building something. It keeps you grounded when your emotions tell you that nothing is happening. A visible record can protect you from unnecessary quitting. Accountability becomes stronger when your actions are tracked. If you keep your progress private, you may still benefit from the structure. But when you share your goals with someone you trust or report your progress to a system you respect, your commitment becomes even stronger. Accountability creates pressure in a healthy way. It encourages follow-through. It reminds you that your decisions matter. It can be as simple as telling one person what you plan to do and showing them your progress later. Even a personal log can serve as accountability because it asks you to face your own behavior without hiding. Still, accountability must be honest to be useful. Some people track only the good days and ignore the rest. That kind of tracking is weak because it protects ego instead of truth. Real accountability includes missed days, difficult days, and weak moments. That is where the learning happens. A missed day is not a reason to quit. It is information. It tells you where your system needs adjustment. Maybe the goal was too large. Maybe the schedule was unclear. Maybe the environment was not helping. Honest tracking lets you see that clearly. You can also use tracking to discover what truly works for you. Over time, patterns appear. You may notice that you are more focused at a certain time of day. You may find that your energy improves when you sleep earlier. You may see that certain habits help you stay calm and productive. This kind of self-knowledge is valuable. It allows you to improve based on real evidence rather than random guesswork. The more you know about your own behavior, the easier it becomes to make better choices. Tracking is also a way to protect your identity. If you say you are serious about your growth, your record should reflect that seriousness. If you claim that discipline matters to you, your actions should support that claim. This is not about pride, it is about alignment. A person feels stronger when their words and actions match. That match builds trust inside the self. It creates self-respect. It teaches you that you are someone whose life can be guided by intention. There is power in watching your effort accumulate. One day seems small. 7 days begin to show a pattern. 30 days reveal a direction. Over time, your record becomes a story of who you are becoming. That story can be encouraging. It can also be corrective. If the pattern is weak, you know where to improve. If the pattern is strong, you gain confidence. Either way, the truth helps you. That is why tracking is a gift. It does not flatter you. It does not lie to you. It simply shows you what is happening so you can respond wisely. A useful way to make tracking effective is to connect it to 1 or 2 key actions that matter most. Do not overwhelm yourself with too many numbers or too many categories. Focus on the habits that will actually move your life forward. Did you do the work you planned? Did you use your time well? Did you stay on track with your health, learning, or discipline? Keep the system light enough to sustain. The purpose is clarity, not complexity. As you continue, you will notice that tracking changes your mindset. You begin to think differently about your day. You stop seeing time as something to waste casually. You begin to see it as something valuable that can be used well or poorly. That shift creates a stronger sense of responsibility. You understand that what you repeat becomes your result. Because you are watching your actions, you are less likely to drift without noticing. This practice also helps during difficult periods. When motivation is low and progress feels slow, a record can remind you that you are still moving. It can keep you from giving up too soon. It can show you that a difficult week does not erase the work you have done before. It can help you return to your standards with more steadiness. In this way, tracking does not just measure growth, it supports resilience. You are not trying to build a perfect record, you are trying to build an honest one. That honesty becomes a foundation for change. Each day becomes an opportunity to learn. Each week becomes an opportunity to adjust. Each month becomes an opportunity to see how far you have come. This is how growth becomes real and visible. Not through wishful thinking, but through careful attention. The person who tracks daily actions becomes harder to fool, easier to improve, and more capable of staying on course. That is the real value of accountability. It keeps your feet on the ground. It keeps your vision clear. It keeps your effort tied to reality. And when that happens, progress becomes more consistent, more measurable, and more lasting. So begin today. Keep a simple record. Be honest with yourself. Notice what supports your progress and what weakens it. Use the truth as a tool, not a weapon. Over time, your record will show more than tasks completed. It will show discipline growing, character strengthening, and a life moving in a better direction. That is the power of tracking daily actions. It helps you measure growth and stay accountable in a way that can truly change your life. Chapter 7. Strengthen your mindset to stay committed during difficult moments. Your strength is revealed, not when everything feels easy, but when you choose to continue, while everything inside you wants to stop. Difficult moments are not rare events. They are part of every serious journey. There will be days when your energy drops, your focus weakens, and your confidence feels uncertain. There will be moments when the effort seems heavier than usual and the reward feels distant. These moments test more than your ability. They test your mindset. They ask one simple question: will you stay committed when comfort disappears? A strong mindset does not remove difficulty. It changes how you respond to it. Many people believe they need to feel strong in order to act. In reality, action often creates strength. Waiting to feel ready can lead to long delays. Acting despite discomfort builds resilience. Each time you move forward in a difficult moment, you train your mind to become steadier. You prove to yourself that you are not controlled by temporary feelings. The mind naturally seeks ease. It prefers comfort, rest, and familiar patterns. This is not a weakness, it is a natural tendency. The problem begins when this tendency controls your decisions. When you always follow what feels easy, you avoid growth. You remain in the same place. A disciplined mindset understands this and chooses differently. It accepts that discomfort is part of progress. It sees challenge as a signal to act, not to retreat. One of the most effective ways to strengthen your mindset is to prepare for difficulty before it arrives. Do not assume that every day will go smoothly. Expect resistance. Expect moments of doubt. When you plan with this awareness, you are less likely to be surprised when challenges appear. You are ready to respond with clarity instead of confusion. This preparation creates stability. It allows you to stay grounded when your emotions shift. Another important step is learning how to manage your thoughts during pressure. Thoughts can either support your effort or weaken it. When difficulty appears, negative thinking can quickly take over. You may start to question your ability. You may focus on what is not working. You may exaggerate the problem. This mental pattern increases resistance. It makes the situation feel worse than it is. To counter this, you must guide your thinking with intention. When a negative thought appears, do not accept it immediately. Pause and examine it. Ask if it is helping you or holding you back. Replace it with a more useful perspective. Instead of thinking that the task is too hard, remind yourself that you only need to take one step. Instead of focusing on how far you have to go, focus on what you can do now. This shift may seem small, but it changes your emotional response. Your internal dialogue plays a powerful role in your behavior. The way you speak to yourself during difficult moments can either build strength or reduce it. A harsh voice can create pressure and doubt. A calm and firm voice can create focus and determination. Speak to yourself with clarity. Acknowledge the challenge, but do not allow it to control you. Remind yourself of your purpose. Remind yourself of your ability to continue. Discipline becomes more reliable when it is not dependent on mood. There will be times when you do not feel motivated. There will be moments when your desire to rest is stronger than your desire to work. In these moments, your mindset must take control. You must rely on your standards, not your feelings. A clear standard removes negotiation. It tells you what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. This does not mean ignoring your limits. It means understanding the difference between genuine fatigue and temporary resistance. Sometimes rest is necessary. Other times, the desire to stop is simply a reaction to discomfort. Learning to recognize this difference is part of mental strength. It allows you to respond wisely instead of reacting automatically. Another way to strengthen your mindset is to reduce the emotional weight of your tasks. When you think of a task as overwhelming, your mind resists it. When you break it into smaller steps, it becomes manageable. Focus on the next action, not the entire challenge. This reduces pressure. It makes it easier to begin. Once you start, momentum often follows. Consistency during difficult moments also depends on your ability to stay present. When your mind is focused on the entire journey, it can feel heavy. When your attention is on the current step, it feels lighter. You only need to handle what is in front of you. This approach simplifies effort. It keeps your mind calm. It allows you to move forward without unnecessary stress. Your past actions can also support your mindset. When you have a record of staying committed before, it becomes easier to do it again. You remember that you have handled difficulty in the past. You understand that you are capable of continuing. This builds confidence. It creates a sense of stability. Each difficult moment you overcome becomes proof of your strength. It is also important to accept that progress is not always smooth. There will be setbacks. There will be mistakes. There will be days when you do not meet your expectations. A strong mindset does not collapse during these moments. It adjusts, it learns, it continues. Instead of focusing on failure, it focuses on the next step. This keeps your progress intact. Resilience grows when you respond to difficulty with action instead of avoidance. Avoidance may feel easier in the moment, but it creates long-term problems. It delays progress. It weakens discipline. Action may feel harder at first, but it builds strength. It creates momentum. It keeps your path clear. You can also strengthen your mindset by limiting unnecessary stress. Not all difficulty is useful. Some challenges are created by poor habits or lack of structure. Organizing your environment, managing your time, and setting clear priorities can reduce avoidable pressure. This allows you to focus your energy on meaningful effort. Another important factor is patience. Difficult moments often feel intense because they are temporary. When you remember that discomfort will pass, it becomes easier to endure. You do not need to escape the moment. You need to move through it. This perspective reduces fear. It allows you to stay calm under pressure. Your mindset becomes stronger when you stop expecting every day to feel easy. Accept that some days will require more effort. Accept that some days will test your commitment. This acceptance removes surprise. It prepares you mentally. It allows you to respond with stability. Commitment is not proven on easy days. It is proven when conditions are not ideal. When you choose to act during these moments, you build a deeper form of discipline. This discipline is not dependent on external factors. It is built on internal strength. Over time, this approach changes how you see challenges. They no longer appear as obstacles. They become opportunities to strengthen your mindset. Each difficult moment becomes a chance to grow. This perspective creates confidence. It turns pressure into progress. Your ability to stay committed during hard times will shape your results more than your performance on easy days. Anyone can move forward when conditions are comfortable. Few can continue when effort feels heavy. Those who do become stronger, more reliable, and more capable. You are not required to feel strong every moment. You are required to act with consistency. Strength is built through action. Each time you choose to continue, you reinforce your mindset. You prove that you are capable of staying on course. Difficult moments will come. They are part of growth. What matters is how you respond. If you train your mind to remain steady, you will not be easily shaken. You will continue to move forward, step by step, even when the path feels challenging. This is how commitment becomes unbreakable. Not through constant motivation, but through a disciplined mindset that chooses action over comfort. Not through perfect conditions, but through steady effort during imperfect moments. This is where real strength is built. Chapter 8. Create routines that make discipline easier and reduce decision fatigue. A strong life becomes easier when your day is built around habits that guide you instead of habits that drain you. Routines are not about living without freedom. They are about creating order so that discipline does not have to fight every decision from the start. Many people think discipline means pushing harder all the time. In truth, a well-designed routine does a great deal of the work before the day even begins. It lowers resistance, it saves mental energy, it helps you move through your day with less confusion and less delay. When your life has structure, your mind does not have to start from zero every morning. This matters because decision fatigue is real. The more choices you make without structure, the more tired your mind becomes. By the time you need to do something important, your attention has already been worn down by small decisions. What should I do first? What should I wear? When should I start? Should I work now or later? These little questions may seem harmless, but they slowly weaken your ability to act with purpose. A routine removes many of those questions. It gives your day a shape. It helps you spend your strength on what truly matters. A good routine is not complex. It is clear. It is steady. It is built around actions that support the life you want. You do not need to fill every minute. You only need to create a few dependable patterns that make good behavior easier. A set time to wake up. A simple morning process. A regular time to work. A habit of preparing for the next day before you rest. These are not small details, they are the framework that supports consistency. When the day begins without structure, the mind often wanders. You may wake up and drift into your phone. You may spend too long deciding what to do first. You may let the morning slip away before meaningful work starts. That lost time creates a silent cost. The day feels shorter, the mind feels scattered, the body feels unprepared. A routine changes that. It teaches your mind what to expect. It creates a sense of direction before distractions have a chance to take hold. One of the greatest benefits of routine is that it reduces the need for repeated self-control. Not every good action should depend on willpower. Willpower is useful but limited. A routine protects it. When a behavior becomes part of a pattern, it requires less inner debate. You stop asking whether to do it because it has already been placed into the structure of your day. That means less mental stress and more energy for important choices. You can think of a routine as a series of small cues. One action leads to the next. Waking up leads to making your bed. Making your bed leads to a glass of water. A short moment of stillness leads to planning the day. Planning leads to focused work. The sequence matters because it removes friction. Each step makes the next one easier. This is how discipline becomes less exhausting. It is supported by design instead of left to chance. A strong routine also protects your standards when motivation is low. There will be mornings when you feel tired. There will be evenings when you would rather delay your responsibilities. On those days, a routine keeps you from falling apart. It gives you a path to follow even when your mood is not ideal. That is one of the quiet strengths of structure. It supports you on the days when your energy is weak and your mind is easily distracted. Many people assume routines are boring, but boredom is not the enemy. Chaos is. A routine can be simple and still meaningful. In fact, the more a routine fits your real life, the more powerful it becomes. It should work with your natural rhythm when possible. If you think clearly in the morning, then place important work there. If you need time to settle before serious effort, then build that in. The best routine is not the most impressive one. It is the one you can repeat with honesty. Creating routines that reduce decision fatigue begins with identifying the choices that drain you most. Notice where your energy disappears. Is it in the morning? Is it when you start work? Is it at the end of the day when everything feels unfinished? Once you understand where the friction is strongest, you can design a routine that reduces it. Put your clothes out before bed. Prepare what you need before the day starts. Decide on a fixed place for your tools. Keep your tasks visible. These actions may seem simple, but they remove unnecessary strain. Another important part of routine design is repetition. The brain learns through repeated patterns. When you do the same useful actions often enough, they become easier. You do not have to force them with the same intensity every time. The process becomes smoother. This is one reason athletes, musicians, and successful workers often depend on routines. They understand that repeated structure creates performance. It frees the mind to focus on the task itself instead of the effort of beginning. Your environment should support the routine as well. If you want discipline, then create conditions that make discipline easier. Keep helpful things within reach. Reduce clutter. Remove distractions that pull you away from what matters. The fewer barriers you face, the less likely you are to delay. A clean and organized environment can make a powerful difference because it reduces small acts of resistance. That gives you more room to act with purpose. A good routine also needs flexibility. Life changes. Some days will not follow the plan exactly. That is normal. The goal is not rigid control. The goal is dependable direction. If your routine can bend without breaking, then it will serve you better over time. You may need to adjust your timing. You may need to shift one task to another part of the day. That does not mean the routine failed. It means you are staying practical. Discipline is not improved by becoming harsh with yourself over every variation. It is improved by remaining committed while adapting wisely. One of the most useful habits in a routine is starting the day with clarity. Before the noise of the world begins, you should know what matters most. A few quiet minutes can set the tone. Review your priorities. Remind yourself of the one or two things that must get done. This makes the rest of the day easier because your mind has been directed early. Without that direction, the day can become a series of reactions. With it, you become more intentional. The end of the day matters too. A closing routine helps you release the day and prepare for the next one. This might include tidying your space, reviewing what was done, writing down what needs attention tomorrow. Closing the day well prevents mental clutter from following you into the next morning. It gives you a clean start. That is valuable because a fresh mind makes better choices. Routine also supports identity. When you repeat useful actions every day, you begin to see yourself differently. You are not just trying to be disciplined. You are becoming someone who lives with order. You are not just hoping for more focus. You are becoming someone who creates the conditions for focus. This shift matters because identity shapes behavior over time. The more your routine reflects the person you want to be, the easier it becomes to live that way. There is a calm confidence that comes from a well-built routine. You no longer waste so much energy deciding what to do next. You already know. The day has a rhythm. Your mind feels less scattered. Your effort feels more stable. You begin to notice that progress comes with less struggle because many of the small battles have already been handled by design. That is a powerful advantage. If your life feels chaotic, then routine can bring order. If your discipline feels weak, then routine can support it. If your attention feels fragile, then routine can protect it. This is not about being trapped in a strict schedule. It is about creating a dependable path that makes good choices more natural. The routine carries you when you are strong and when you are tired. It gives your days a backbone. Start with the habits that matter most. Build around them. Keep the structure simple enough that you can follow it on ordinary days. Protect it from unnecessary complexity. Refine it as you learn more about your own energy and habits. Over time, the routine will begin to carry real power because it will be rooted in your life instead of in theory. Discipline becomes easier when your day is not filled with constant decision-making. A strong routine reduces waste. It increases focus. It gives your mind more room to think and more room to act. That is why routines matter so much. They turn effort into rhythm. They turn intention into practice. They help you live with more strength and less strain. Build a routine that serves your goals and respects your limits. Keep it steady, keep it simple, keep it honest. In time you will see that what once felt difficult begins to feel natural. That is the quiet power of routine. It makes discipline easier and frees your mind to grow. Chapter 9. Surround yourself with positive influences that reinforce consistent behavior. Your environment is silently shaping your life every single day, more than your motivation ever will. The people you spend time with and the influences you allow into your daily space do not just affect your mood. They shape your behavior, your standards, and your level of consistency. You may think discipline is only an internal decision, but the truth is that your surroundings constantly either support your growth or weaken it. Over time, what surrounds you becomes what you accept. What you accept becomes what you repeat. What you repeat becomes your life. Positive influence does not mean being around perfect people. It means being around energy that encourages effort instead of excuses. It means choosing environments where progress is normal, not rare. When you are surrounded by people who value discipline, consistency becomes easier. When you are surrounded by people who delay and complain, excuses start to feel normal. This is not about judgment. It is about awareness. Influence is always happening whether you notice it or not. Many people struggle with consistency, not because they lack ability, but because their environment constantly pulls them away from it. They try to stay focused while being surrounded by distraction. They try to stay disciplined while being exposed to habits that promote laziness. This creates internal conflict. On one side, they want progress. On the other side, their surroundings encourage comfort. Eventually, the environment often wins because it is constant and silent. Choosing better influences begins with observation. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with certain people or content. Do you feel motivated to act, or do you feel drained? Do you feel clearer about your goals or more distracted from them? Your emotional and mental state after exposure is a strong indicator of influence. If something consistently weakens your drive, it is worth reducing. If something strengthens your focus, it is worth increasing. You do not need to remove every negative influence at once. That is unrealistic for most people. But you can begin to shift your exposure. Reduce time spent in environments that encourage inconsistency. Increase time spent in environments that support growth. Even small changes in exposure can create noticeable differences over time. The goal is not isolation. The goal is alignment. Positive influence can come in many forms. It can come from people who are disciplined in their actions. It can come from books that challenge your thinking. It can come from content that reinforces focus instead of distraction. It can come from mentors who speak with clarity and direction. What matters is not the form it takes, but the effect it has on your behavior. If it encourages you to act with more consistency, it is valuable. One of the strongest influences on behavior is proximity. You tend to absorb the habits of those you are closest to. This is why your social circle matters. If your close environment is focused, you are more likely to stay focused. If your environment is scattered, you are more likely to lose direction. You do not need to judge others, but you do need to be honest about influence. Your future depends heavily on what you allow into your daily life. Sometimes, improving your environment means setting boundaries. It may mean limiting conversations that revolve around complaints without action. It may mean stepping back from habits that waste time. It may mean being more intentional about who you spend your energy with. Boundaries are not rejection. They are protection of your focus. They help you stay aligned with your goals instead of drifting into distraction. At the same time, you can actively seek environments that support growth. Look for people who are consistent in their own lives. Notice how they manage their time. Notice how they handle challenges. You do not need to compare yourself in a negative way. You can simply observe and learn. Being around disciplined behavior naturally raises your own standards. It shows you what is possible through steady effort. Even digital environments matter. The content you consume daily becomes part of your thinking. If your input is filled with distraction, your focus weakens. If your input is filled with clarity and purpose, your mindset strengthens. This is why it is important to be intentional with what you watch, read, and listen to. Your attention is limited. Where you place it repeatedly shapes your mental direction. A powerful shift happens when you begin to notice influence instead of absorbing it unconsciously. Instead of automatically reacting to your environment, you start evaluating it. You ask whether it supports your consistency or weakens it. This awareness alone can change your behavior. It gives you control over what used to operate in the background of your life. Positive influence also works through example. When you see someone stay consistent despite difficulty, it reinforces belief in your own ability to do the same. It reminds you that discipline is not rare or impossible, it is practiced. This is why being around consistent behavior is so valuable. It removes doubt. It replaces excuses with evidence. It makes discipline feel more achievable. There is also value in contributing to positive environments yourself. Influence is not only something you receive, it is something you give. When you commit to your own consistency, you naturally affect others. Your behavior becomes a reference point. Your actions become part of someone else's motivation. This creates a cycle where discipline reinforces discipline. However, you must remain careful about environments that reward inconsistency. Some spaces make distraction normal. Some groups encourage delay as a habit. Some conversations focus more on avoiding effort than taking action. Spending too much time in such environments can slowly reshape your standards without you realizing it. That is why awareness is essential. You must decide what kind of influence you are willing to accept. Building a supportive environment is an ongoing process. It is not something you fix once. As your goals evolve, your environment may need to adjust as well. You may need different influences at different stages of your life. What matters is that you remain intentional. Do not allow your surroundings to shape you passively. Choose them with awareness. Consistency becomes easier when your environment reflects your goals. When your surroundings remind you of discipline, it becomes harder to ignore your responsibilities. When your environment is aligned with growth, effort feels more natural. You stop fighting against your surroundings and start working with them. This reduces internal resistance and increases steady action. It is also important to recognize that even small influences add up. A short daily conversation, a regular habit of content consumption, a repeated social pattern. These may seem minor, but over time they shape your thinking. That is why long-term consistency is often influenced more by environment than by occasional bursts of motivation. Protecting your consistency means protecting your attention. Be mindful of what you allow into your space. Be selective about what you engage with regularly. Choose influences that reinforce discipline rather than weaken it. This is not about avoiding reality. It is about designing your environment in a way that supports your growth instead of competing with it. As you strengthen your environment, you will notice changes in your behavior. Actions that once required effort will feel more natural. Focus will become easier to maintain. Distraction will lose some of its pull. This happens because your surroundings are no longer working against your goals. They are supporting them. In the long run, your environment becomes a reflection of your priorities. If you prioritize growth, your environment will gradually reflect that. If you prioritize distraction, that will also become visible. This is why small daily decisions about influence matter so much. They shape the foundation of your consistency. Choose environments that challenge you to be committed. Choose people who remind you of discipline through their actions. Choose content that strengthens your focus instead of scattering it. Over time, these choices build a structure around your life that makes consistency easier to maintain. When your environment supports your effort, discipline stops feeling like a constant struggle. It becomes part of your natural behavior. That is when consistency becomes sustainable. That is when progress becomes steady. And that is when your daily actions begin to produce long-term results that reflect the life you are working to build. Chapter 10. Stay patient and trust the process to achieve meaningful results. Your future is never built in a rush, but in the quiet strength of waiting while still working. Patience is often misunderstood. Many people think it means doing nothing and waiting for results to appear. In reality, patience is about continuing effort without allowing frustration to control your decisions. It is the ability to stay steady when progress feels slow and results are not immediately visible. It is not passive. It is active endurance. It is the discipline of continuing when your emotions try to convince you to stop. In a world that values instant outcomes, patience feels difficult. Everything around you suggests that success should be fast. Quick results, immediate changes, fast improvement, but real growth does not follow that timeline. Meaningful results are built gradually. They develop through repetition, adjustment, and time. When you understand this, your expectations shift. You stop demanding instant transformation and begin respecting the process. The process is where everything important happens. It is where habits are formed, where skills develop, and where character is shaped. But the process rarely feels exciting while you are inside it. It often feels repetitive. It feels slow. It feels like nothing is changing. This is where many people give up. They mistake slow progress for no progress. They stop too early because they cannot see immediate proof of their effort. Trusting the process means accepting that results may take longer than expected. It means believing that consistent action is building something even when you cannot see it yet. Growth is often invisible in the beginning. Like planting a seed, most of the work happens beneath the surface. There is no visible change at first, but that does not mean nothing is happening. It means preparation is taking place. Strong roots are forming before anything appears above the ground. Patience is tested most when effort does not immediately match reward. You may work hard for days, weeks, or even months without seeing clear results. During this period, doubt can grow. You may start questioning whether your actions are working. You may feel tempted to change direction too quickly. This is where trust becomes important. Trust in your effort. Trust in your consistency. Trust in the direction you have chosen. One of the most powerful ways to develop patience is to focus on daily execution rather than future outcomes. If you constantly measure your progress only by results, you will often feel discouraged. But if you measure your progress by action, you will see steady success every day. The goal is not to control how fast results appear. The goal is to control how consistently you show up. That shift removes pressure and builds stability. Patience also grows when you understand that all meaningful achievements require time. Anything that lasts is built slowly. Skills require repetition. Discipline requires reinforcement. Confidence requires experience. Strength requires endurance. There are no shortcuts that replace this process. When you accept this truth, you stop resisting time and start using it. Time becomes part of your progress, not an obstacle to it. Another important aspect of patience is emotional control. Frustration often appears when expectations are not met quickly. If you allow frustration to guide your decisions, you may abandon good habits too soon. Emotional reactions can interrupt consistency. That is why staying calm during slow progress is essential. It allows you to continue without unnecessary interruption. It keeps your actions aligned with your goals even when your emotions are unstable. Trusting the process also requires self-awareness. You must recognize when impatience is influencing your behavior. Sometimes impatience shows up as constant comparison. You may look at others and feel behind. Sometimes it appears as overworking in short bursts, followed by burnout. Sometimes it appears as quitting early, because results feel distant. Recognizing these patterns helps you regain control. It allows you to return to steady effort. A patient mindset focuses on direction rather than speed. It asks whether you are moving forward, not how fast you are moving. Progress is not always linear. Some days feel productive, some days feel slow, some days feel uncertain, but when you look at the bigger picture, consistent effort always creates movement. Even small steps accumulate over time. What matters is staying on the path long enough for those steps to matter. It is also important to understand that patience does not mean ignoring improvement. You should still reflect on your actions. You should still adjust when needed. But adjustments should not come from frustration. They should come from learning. There is a difference between reacting emotionally and improving intentionally. One leads to instability. The other leads to growth. Trusting the process also means accepting that setbacks will happen. No journey is free from mistakes or delays. There will be days when you fall behind. There will be moments when progress slows down. Instead of seeing these as failure, see them as part of the structure of growth. A setback does not erase your progress. It simply becomes part of the learning experience. What matters is how you respond afterward. Returning to your routine after a setback is a powerful act of discipline. It shows that your commitment is not dependent on perfection. It shows that you are focused on long-term progress rather than short-term comfort. Each time you return, you strengthen your ability to stay consistent. That is how trust in the process is built. Not through perfect performance, but through repeated return to effort. Another key element of patience is resisting the urge to compare your timeline with others. Every person moves at a different pace. Every journey has different conditions. When you compare your progress to someone else's highlight, you lose sight of your own path. This comparison creates unnecessary pressure. It can make your progress feel smaller than it is. Instead of comparison, focus on alignment with your own actions and goals. Trust also grows when you document your journey. When you look back at your past actions, you begin to see subtle changes that are not obvious in the moment. You notice improvements in discipline, focus, and consistency. This awareness reinforces patience because it shows that progress is happening, even if slowly. It reminds you that effort is not wasted. A patient mindset does not rush decisions. It avoids unnecessary changes that break consistency. Many people change direction too often because they expect fast results. They start something, do it for a short time, then abandon it when results are not immediate. This creates a cycle of starting and stopping. Trusting the process breaks this cycle. It encourages you to stay consistent long enough for real results to appear. You also develop patience by learning to value effort itself. Instead of focusing only on outcomes, you begin to respect the process of working. You appreciate the act of showing up, of practicing, of improving. This shift reduces frustration. It allows you to find meaning in daily actions rather than waiting for final results to feel satisfied. Over time, patience becomes a form of strength. It stabilizes your mindset. It reduces emotional fluctuations. It keeps you steady when circumstances change. A patient person is less likely to be discouraged by temporary challenges. They understand that progress is still unfolding, even when it is not visible. When patience and consistency work together, they create powerful results. Consistency ensures that you continue acting. Patience ensures that you continue without losing direction. One keeps you moving, the other keeps you grounded. Together they create a balanced approach to growth that leads to lasting success. In the end, trusting the process is about believing in the value of your daily actions even before results fully appear. It is about staying committed when progress feels slow. It is about understanding that time is not an enemy, but a necessary part of growth. Every effort you make adds to something larger than what you can see today. Stay steady in your actions. Stay calm in your expectations. Stay committed to your direction. Let time do its work while you do yours. When patience becomes part of your discipline, results stop feeling rushed and start feeling earned. That is when meaningful success begins to take shape, not suddenly, but steadily, through the power of consistent effort over time.